morning. Welcome to the first 2016 edition of Varsity Sports Live. Tom Nieman with Jason and Andera. Football time in North and South Dakota.
Yay.
And Jandy, this is the fourth year now in South Dakota that we've had 7 classes of high school football, 4 11-man and 3 9-man. Is it the greatest thing in the world? No. Is it the worst thing in the world? No.
It hasn't broke football yet. It
No.
is still fun, and in my opinion, it really does make for some competitive classes, and we've seen that for the past couple of years, especially in like 11 AA.
Yeah.
We've had 2 finals decided in the last drive or conversion of the game. So, yeah, I think so far, so good, Tom.
There were some really good games in 11 AA in South Dakota tonight. We will get to those here as we go along. North Dakota as well. They got their 9-man game started last night, and then they get the big schools going tonight. And let's get it going with this one. We'll have some highlights of this one coming up later. Bismarck High over Fargo Davies. A couple of touchdown runs for Lucas Butts in this one for Bismarck. And then Minot West Fargo, our game of the night, a lot of people's game of the night. Chase Tyken, 4 touchdown runs as West Fargo beats Minot.
Yeah, the turning point in this one, it was close coming up into the halftime when Parker Borg picked one off for West Fargo, and that sparked the offense after that, and West Fargo rolled them up in the second half. But don't be deceived by that score. Minot, very good team.
All right, the defending 3A champions in North Dakota, that's Bismarck Century.
First time they've ever been able to say that.
First time they had ever won the state championship last year, and they start off this season with a 43-14 win over Grand Forks Red River. We'll take a look at that one coming up as the show goes along. And Fargo South, that one has gone final now, 36-0 over Mandan.
Yeah, it helps to have a veteran quarterback back. Fargo South really felt that comfort today. Jack Pfeiffer having a very comfortable game in the pocket. Not many, by the way, returning senior quarterbacks in Class AAA in North Dakota. That could mean a lot for this Bruin team going forward.
Yeah, Murph's gone, Feeney's gone, a lot of those guys. Fargo South, though, the Bruins going to win tonight. It was Bismarck Legacy at home tonight. This is the second year as a varsity team for Bismarck Legacy. And Cheyenne won this game last year 62-18. Legacy gets its first varsity win. How about that?
I'll tell you, it means so much to have seniors. They have not had seniors in their program last year. I think the first show we did just a couple years back was their very first varsity game, and they've come a long way since then. I think Legacy, they might be a surprise team out in the WDA this year.
All right, Williston at home gets a win to open up against Devils Lake, 20-0 there. A new stadium, I believe.
New stadium for Williston. Opened that stadium in style, taking out, one of those veteran quarterbacks for Nate Mertens for Devils Lake, but Williston showing up and doing their job at home.
Jamestown was impressive as well tonight. They led Grand Forks Central 14-6 at halftime. Jamestown wins this one 30-6 over Central.
Yeah, a couple touchdown runs by Jared Haar, and they're hoping for a little turnaround this season. Both those teams hoping for turnarounds, but the Blue Jays start off with 1-0 record.
Dickinson won 7 games last year, and that game is now 28-9 was the final in that one. Sean Steffen with a couple of touchdowns for Dickinson.
Sean Steffen has great arm, and he really stands tall in the pocket. Great win for them to open the season. They don't have Tyrell Harris back. That's the guy we saw in the highlights every game for Dickinson last year, but a lot of weapons on that offense, and they can throw the ball around a little bit.
All right, good start for Dickinson in 2A in North Dakota to get it going tonight. Valley City over Wahpeton, 38-12. Eli Allen with 3 touchdowns in this game for Valley City. Nate Rodriguez with a couple as they win.
Yeah, the more I think about this, the more I think I had Valley City a little underrated in my preseason rankings. A lot of weapons back from last year's team that really made some ripples in this class, and they could be competing for a title after watching the first night of football.
And then 2 of the traditional powerhouses in 2A. St. Mary's over Shanley tonight, 18-7. Shanley's been the runner-up in this class the last couple of years. St. Mary's won the championship, but 2 out of the last 3 years. This is always a good battle.
And then this rivalry is really, really cranked up over the last 3 years. All of the games that they play within a score. So this one, 18-7, that's a blowout as far as when these two teams line it up.
Another good team in 2A in North Dakota is Dickinson Trinity. Kildare is a Class A team, but Trinity 32-8 tonight. And then Beulah.
Yeah, I'm just going to comment on that. That was last night. It opened up play, and Dawson Cram, first carry for 59-yard touchdown, and had a couple of touchdowns on the night. So huge win for Dickinson Trinity.
And then the Coal Bowl, Jandy, in North Dakota. The defending 2A champions Beulah with a win over Hazen tonight.
And that's a statement win because Hazen, a good team. Yes, they're a class lower. Good win to start the season out. Mikey Morris had a 93-yard touchdown in that one for the Miners.
All right, some North Dakota highlights coming up in a moment, but let's get to some of the South Dakota games tonight. Any surprises, by the way, in North Dakota other than Bismarck Legacy?
Well, that was the one I was going to point to. Legacy with their first win, that's huge for them. And, Bismarck getting a solid win on the road against Fargo Davies coming off of last year where they didn't have as commanding performance early in the season. I think that's a real important win for the Demons to start the season off.
And West Fargo beats Minot. You think those are maybe the two best teams?
I did. And even with that score a little lopsided, I still think those might be the two teams that we're looking at when we play the Dakota Bowl later in November.
All right, South Dakota scores, and again, we'll have some highlights of these games coming up as well as we go along tonight. Sioux Falls O'Gorman, that is in the fourth quarter now, out in Rapid City, and still just 13-0.
Yeah, actually, I just saw a touchdown come across the board. Another one for Sioux Falls O'Gorman. Hunter Thompson throws his first touchdown. Canyon Bauer catches his first touchdown. So, yeah, 3-score lead for the Knights early in this one.
New coach
late in this one
at Sioux Falls O'Gorman.
Yeah, that's the story
this year. As Jason Poppinga comes from Pierre and takes over there, and we'll see what happens in that one out in Rapid City tonight. Sioux Falls Roosevelt led Aberdeen Central 13-7 at halftime, and then the Riders messed around a little bit in the first half, but they get the win.
Yeah, maybe not the most overwhelming performance that they're going to show all year, but I think give a little credit to the Golden Eagles. Kenyon Hannigan, he showed up. He played some good quarterback today, and defensively, they've got some big guys up front. They were able to contain the run. I think Aberdeen Central might have a little say in them maybe being a top 5 team this year.
That would be cool. All right, highlights of that one coming up. You'll see Torrin Devricks and those guys from Sioux Falls Roosevelt. In AA in South Dakota, Watertown goes to Pierre. And again, Pierre with a new head coach there and Steve Steele, but Alex Gower with a couple of touchdowns as Watertown gets a win.
Yeah, Gower 11 for 17 throwing, very efficient. And again, having a senior quarterback with experience back in the pocket could be big things for Watertown this year. 120 yards throwing, and they got a great running game out of Spearing, who ran the ball for 148 yards. So they controlled the time of possession and kept the ball away from Pierre enough to get the win.
Bubba Spearing for Watertown. We'll see him in the highlights coming up a little bit later. We got highlights for Pierre coming. And then Brookings and Yankton again. This one was back and forth. Yankton had the lead early. Brookings scored 3 straight touchdowns in the second half. Brookings scored to make it the score you see here. They went for 2 and did not get it, and then Yankton hangs on to win 29-28.
Does that sound familiar or what? These two teams get together. It comes down to conversions, and last year's overtime game started the season off. The year before, the title game was decided the same way, so we should know better. We should have this game on every year because, man, these two know how to play a football game.
We will have some highlights and some post-game sound from Arlen Lickness coming up a little bit later. Elsewhere tonight in South Dakota, Huron led 21-0 at halftime. Big night for Highland Hines, their quarterback, as the Tigers open up 35-0.
Yeah, total of 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown run for Highland Hines. 221 yards rushing as a team. Nick Christensen got involved. Ty Evers got a touchdown. Huron has some skill players. Let's see if they can match up when the schedule gets a little tougher, but impressive win to start the season. They have a new stadium as well.
New turf at Tiger Stadium in Huron.
Right.
Spearfish and Belfouche will be Saturday night in South Dakota, and there's a lot of good games on Saturday night. Sioux Falls, Washington as well will be at Brandon Valley. Rapid City Stevens and Lincoln as well coming up on Saturday night.
Yeah, there's some good ones Saturday night, and we're talking about 11-8. We had some good scores there as well. I think on the next board we've got Del Rapids Madison score, if I remember right. Take a look. I think it's there. But, Saturday we'll have some great games as well. Looking forward to it.
All right, a couple of the other finals tonight. Madison, the defending Class A champions. There you go. They go to Del Rapids 35-6. Mason Layton is back for Madison, and he had 3 big, long touchdown runs tonight.
I've been on a couple radio shows, and everybody's asking about what does Madison have back, because Mitch Hansen's not back, Brody Fredrickson's not back. Well, Mason Layton is back. You're going to hear that name often this year. Maybe the fastest player in this entire class.
All right, defending champions start up there. And how about this one? Dakota Valley over West Central. I mean, anytime West Central loses, it's really, you go, okay,
that's
wow.
News.
But Dakota Valley
has been down for the last couple of years. They have a crop of incredible sophomore players coming through the system. And if this is any indication of the direction the Panthers program is going, watch out for the next 2 years. They have a load of talent coming up through the system.
Dakota Valley, I believe, plays at Madison next week. That should be good.
Watch out.
All right, let's get to the highlights again. And there's those 2 games on Saturday night we were talking about. We'll hit on those a little bit later. really good matchup in Brandon Valley with the defending champions from Washington. And then Stevens. Lincoln, we don't know what they're going to have this year. Harrisburg Mitchell is going to be really good in 11AA. And then St. Thomas More and Sturgis, that game on Saturday night as well.
Yeah, I like the way they spread out the Friday, Saturday games early in the season. You get a little extra day of high school football.
All right, Jandy, let's get to some highlights tonight and a couple of games we've got in right now. Bismarck High, 7-3 last year.
7-3, by the way.
Fargo Davies, 7-3, huh?
Unbelievable. I mean, that's the first year they've had 3 losses since I've covered North Dakota high school football.
This is the opening kickoff of the game, and Alex York, the distance for Davies to make it 6-0 on the first play of the year.
Well, a young team needed a spark early in this one, and boy, did they get it right off the bat.
All right, this is the kickoff after that touchdown. And there you go, Jalen Sprecher.
Unbelievable.
For Bismarck High. Goes the other way to tie it at 6.
Yeah, we're on pace for a high-scoring game when the first 2 plays of the game, both special teams touchdowns. Watch out, going up and down the field.
All right, 30 seconds into the game, it's a 6-6 ball game. Here's Bismarck and Will Madler. Look at that catch by Tate Doppler for the Demons.
First of all, look at the throw. This is a team that does not throw the ball traditionally. Great play in the air.
Touchdown run, 24 there is big Lucas Butts. And he goes in to make it 13-6. Bismarck in the lead. And then they trade turnovers here. Ethan Campbell, 58, gets down and gets that one for Davies, but they give it right back. Braden Just with the interception right here for Bismarck.
Yeah, Braden Just, one of the best athletes on this team. Just reading the ball, not a great throw, but to come up with that interception really started to get that momentum flowing for the Demons, and they really took it from there.
Yeah, they turned it into points again. Saw Butts with the power before, and then he's got the moves on this run to make it 19-6.
The last couple running backs we've seen for the Demons, all small little scat backs, shifty. This Lucas Butts, he can do a little bit of that, but boy, he can run you straight over as well.
They list him at 200 pounds, but he is powerful, and the Demons open up tonight 32-13, and we'll see what Bismarck can do this year. Lost in the first round of the playoffs last year to West Fargo, but this is a traditional powerhouse in North Dakota.
Not many people talking about him after last season's disappointment, but I'll tell you what, the WDA wide open, and why not? Why not? Demons look like a team to beat out there.
All right, let's go to Grand Forks, and we've got Red River taking on Bismarck Century. Century, the defending 3A champions. Red River was the top passing team in the EDC last year, but a fumble recovery here by Bismarck's Jace LePray early on. That was on Red River's first possession. And then Jacob Olson goes to Luke Little. Nice grab, touchdown there, 7-0 Century. And the Patriots go up 10-0, and here's Joey Schindler. This is going to go 94 yards to get Red River right back in it.
Great job of bouncing that thing outside, but you know there's a little problem with the coverage when you're that wide open after you get past the first level.
All right, Century still up 10-6, and then it starts to fall apart a little for Red River. I believe that is Cade Lynch with the interception, and that kind of turned the tone of the game. Century starts to take control. Olson just keeps rolling, and then that is a beautiful throw to a wide-open Cole Anderson for a touchdown.
You can see why they like the junior Jacob Olson taking over. Not that size prototype quarterback like they had with Dalton Feeney, but definitely able to throw the ball down the field.
All right, Century in the lead. We jump to the third quarter here. Another really nice throw. That is Luke Little again, 50-yard touchdown. Century had a 29-7 lead at that point, and the defending champions win tonight 43-14.
Yeah, people wonder, too, what is Century have back? Well, they've got a good running game back, and they've got this new quarterback, Jacob Olson, who really looks like a promising passer for the Patriots this season.
All right, we still got some highlights. The West Fargo and Minot game. We'll hit that one a little bit later here in the show. We've got Mandan and Fargo South, I believe, right here. Second quarter, 14-0 South. Mandan looking to get back in it, but Caden Krause is picked off there by Cade Briss, who had a couple of them tonight.
Fargo South really just physically looked like a bigger team out there. They took command of this game early. They've got some veterans who have made big plays, and you see it right here. Dump off leads to a rumble down the field. Victor
Isaac right there. That play goes 25 yards. And then here's the guy you're talking about, Jack Pfeiffer. Their quarterback, Tanner Beaton, had a great year last year as a sophomore. Hauls that in for 21 yards. And then Xander Lukowski takes it in 21-0 South.
Yeah, Lukowski, a tough runner. Got some carries last year. Wasn't the feature back. Same type of thing this year. He can run the ball for them up and down the field. Just exudes that toughness of the Fargo South Bruins.
Late in the first half here, that is Briss. Again, second interception of the first half for Cade Briss, and he keeps it 21-0 South at halftime. Third quarter here on the punt, and South is going to catch a break. It goes off the helmet of a Mandan player, and Beaton jumps on it for Fargo South. And then 2 plays after that, it is Xander Lukowski again, and it's 29-0 Bruins.
There's not many goal line backs as good as Lukowski. You're right, they did get a couple breaks, but they just really controlled this game from start to finish.
Yeah, this is the next possession for Fargo South. That is Jack Pfeiffer going 35 yards into the end zone, 36-0 at that point.
That's a place where the pass sets up the run. Pfeiffer's so good in the pocket that he was able to scoot in for 2 rushing touchdowns, and you know, he's a great dual threat quarterback for this Fargo South team. And Mandan, on the other hand, just a little younger than they have been in the past. They love to pass the ball, but they don't have that really passing game clicking early in the season.
Still trying to find a quarterback, really.
They had 3 candidates coming into the season. You saw Kraus do a little bit of it. Alex Horner, another guy who's able to throw the ball, but it's going to take a little time for the Braves to get that passing game going.
All right, but Fargo South with Lukowski and Pfeiffer, they get the win tonight, 36-0 over Mandan to get it started. We will have a look at the Minot West Fargo game that was very good. Chase Tyken, one of the best running backs in North Dakota. Highlights from that one coming up a little bit later, but we will go to South Dakota next. Highlights from all over the place, including some really good games in 11AA when we come back.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance Agency and South Dakota State University.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live, and let's get to the highlights in South Dakota tonight as they kick it off in a lot of the big schools. There's still some pretty good games on Saturday night, but the first game we're going to look at is Aberdeen Central and Sioux Falls Roosevelt. And we saw Roosevelt this summer in the 7x7 championships, and they looked really good, but Aberdeen Central hung with them tonight at Howard Wood Field. And
first pass of the night for Torrin Devricks, picked off by Landon Lundquist with the pick, and then look at this. They turned it into a touchdown. Cannon Hannigan played some receiver last year. Their starting quarterback this year finds tight end Mason Flockus, and look at that, 7-0 right off the bat.
All right, here's what you expect out of Roosevelt. That's Devricks, and that's Austin Johnson with the catch of the touchdown run. Aberdeen Central still in the lead 7-6 after the missed extra point there, but Devricks over the middle to Colzoir, just shy of a touchdown.
Yeah. And next play took him down there. They've got one of the elite backs in the class, Tyson Jan, finds his way into the end zone. Big offensive line.
All right, Roosevelt up 13-7. And then out of the backfield or out of the slot again, Tyson Jan. That's a really nice catch on a pretty good throw by Torrin Devricks.
No way to cover all these receivers, by the way.
There is really not, but if you fumble the snap, Aberdeen Central is going to get after you. That's Chase Jacobs taking down Devricks. That's a big boy for the Golden Eagles. 13-7 is the score. Roosevelt in the lead at the half. But Devricks here to Carter Karstens. Again, right down just outside the 1-yard line. And then Devricks will take it in himself, although he gets smacked right there. It's 20-7 Roosevelt.
Carter Karstens, by the way, is playing a little bit of both sides of the ball this year. Last year, almost exclusively defense. He made some big plays to get him down the field, and they know how to polish off these drives.
Yeah, Roosevelt started to get it cranked up a little bit. Tyson Jan breaks a couple of tackles, makes it 27-7 for Roosevelt. After Aberdeen Central had that early lead, the Riders come back and score 27 in a row to win it.
We saw a little bit of rust. We forget. Torrin Devricks started a little bit at the end of last year. This is his first opener as the starting quarterback. They got off to a little rough start, but for the most part, they controlled this game with short passes. They made a lot of mistakes, though, and they still got a 20-point win, so you got to give Roosevelt some credit for playing some good ball.
All right, the Rough Riders will play Sioux Falls O'Gorman coming up next Saturday. And as you said, Aberdeen Central, kind of a team to look for in that big class.
One thing Aberdeen Central has going for them, some big boys up front. They've got a defensive line that can stuff the run a little bit, and they've got a composed quarterback. Cannon Hannigan is going to have a say in a lot of games that he plays in from here on out. And Aberdeen could make a little noise in this top 5.
All right, Riders get the win there, though. Let's go out to Rapid City. And we've got Rapid City Central and Sioux Falls O'Gorman. O'Gorman, the runners-up last year in this class. They got a new coach, a new quarterback, a new wide receiver, pretty much a new everything.
Yeah.
And Hunter Thompson got stuffed. O'Gorman got stuffed at the goal line early in the game, but both teams had the running game working a little bit.
Well, you saw a lot of this. Hunter Thompson looking downfield, not sure what to do, not getting the pass off, and running with it. But here he finds, I think that's Canyon Bauer.
Yep. One of those football names at O'Gorman. Canyon Bauer.
Just a sophomore.
With the reception there. And then Thompson again. I don't know if that's a design run or not, but it gets him down to the 1-yard line. And then Sam Burnison would take it in for the touchdown. The Cobblers blocked the extra point, though, and it's 6-0 O'Gorman.
Yeah, O'Gorman got a good drive. They only completed a couple passes in this entire first half, and they tried to pass the ball. And I think by the end of the year, you're going to see O'Gorman become a passing team, but they're still making that transition. This is a team that exclusively ran the ball, almost never ran out of the shotgun or the pistol, and you saw them almost all the time going out of the shotgun and the pistol tonight. They're going to grow throughout this season.
Rapid City scored a touchdown that answered that first touchdown for O'Gorman, but it was called back for a penalty as Blandon Walton took one in. Would have tied the game,
right,
or they could have gone ahead, and then O'Gorman, again, got a Thompson to Bauer touchdown late in the ballgame here, and they win it 19-0.
Yeah, Rapid City Central, by the way, no slouch. They just made a few mistakes at the wrong times, but they've got a very solid quarterback in Walton Blandon. He's going to make some plays, and he's going to give those Cobbler fans some excitement this year. Just couldn't get the offense going today, so credit that Knights defense.
All right, a couple of really good games in 11AA in South Dakota tonight. It was Watertown on the road in Pierre. Pierre lost in the final last year to Yankton in overtime. Their quarterback, Revan Kaiser, gone, so Peyton Zabel is the new quarterback this year for Pierre, and that is Jack Adam on the receiving end of the first touchdown.
Yeah, they got a couple playmakers on the outside that can make plays, and Peyton Zabel, watch out for him, 6'6". He's got a big frame at quarterback. He can extend plays. He's going to be fun to watch as a junior evolve at quarterback.
That's a good-looking pass, but that is picked off by Watertown's Riley Schultz and keeps Pierre out of the end zone and keeps Pierre from building that lead. And then Watertown in the second quarter gets it going here. Alex Gower is their quarterback. Great grab by Brent Schulte on a fourth down play, and that's a Watertown touchdown.
That's huge on a fourth down to be able to go to the air with confidence. That says a lot about how Watertown feels about Alex Gower.
Pierre had then turned it over on downs, and then there's Bubba Spearing. 41 yards for Spearing to make it 14-7 Watertown at halftime.
Nice to see Watertown with a power running back once again. They look like they're going to ride Bubba Spearing a lot this year.
No scoring in that third quarter. And then I think that is, we'll get a run by the Arrows there. Spearing, that was Spearing breaking free again, goes 20 yards. And then Gower takes it in for the touchdown to finish off that drive, makes it 20-7. There were still about 12 minutes left at that point, but the Arrows keep Pierre out of the end zone from there, and a good win for Watertown to open it up.
A very nice win for Watertown, and this is a AAA team. They're on the very edge of that break between AAA and AA, so they play both teams a lot in the ESD, and it's nice for them to go on the road and get a win early like this.
All right, let's hear a little bit from the Arrows after the win out there.
Up front, worked great. We've been working hard all week. Coach has been with us. They've been working us hard. We worked a lot this week on sticking with each other, and something like that happens, they come out, put a point on the board. We gotta come out and put one on as well.
So Spearing, he ends up with 148 yards on the ground, and they're complemented perfectly, balanced on offense as Alex Gower threw 11 for 17, very efficient, 120 yards. Threw a couple darts into the end zone. Pierre, on the other hand, a lot of moving transition, not only with the coaching staff, but the talent on the team. A team that showed some promise, but Watertown definitely the better team on this night.
All right, John Hodorf, he's been around for a couple years now at Watertown. We'll hear from him a little bit later, their head coach in our zone coverage. Let's go to Del Rapids, Jandian, Madison, and Del Rapids. Madison, the defending champions in this class, and they've got a quarterback named Josh Giles, and that is Maton Layson with his first touchdown of the game.
Well, first of all, new quarterback, Josh Giles. Jacob Giles was the quarterback 2 quarterbacks ago. Mitch Hansen, both star quarterbacks. I think Giles has that ability to be one of those star quarterbacks for Madison, and Mason Layton making plays.
Layton picks off Hunter Hansen there.
What didn't he do tonight?
And that goes the other way. It's 23-0 Madison in the lead, and then Giles. This is Jaden Yonke.
We got about 3 Yankees, too, that can make plays
They're
all
all
over
good.
the field.
And then the first play of the third quarter is coming up here. And it's going to be Mason Layton.
Nice shot.
Dells has been a powerhouse, but Madison is the powerhouse right now in this class. And this is Layton. Drops the kickoff, picks it up.
Look at the speed, though. Look at the speed. This guy
Goes
gets
85 yards the other way.
Yeah, that was his favorite number tonight, 85, by the way. Keep an eye on that. But for him to drop the ball, let the defense get sucked in, and for him to turn the burners on, he just is so effortless in his sprinting.
That was the opening kickoff of the second half. So Layton had a punt return, a kick return, and a receiving touchdown tonight for Madison.
Yeah, and his return touchdowns, both 85 yards. They were no slouch, so he's a candidate for the player of the week. You have to watch Varsity Sports this week at new time, 6:30, by the way, on Wednesday, to see who our player of the week is, but he's definitely a candidate.
Hunter Hansen added a late touchdown in that game for Del Rapids. But again, Madison, the defending champions in this class, they will host Dakota Valley, and Dakota Valley beat West Central tonight. That could be good next week in Madison.
Very interesting, and we caught up with a couple of Bulldogs after the game. Let's hear from the team.
Well, it's always great to come into a place like this and come out with a victory. I was proud of our performance. We executed the game plan, and our playmakers, they made plays. I mean, what else can you say? We had great big plays by Mason and the rest of the players. Riley and Jaden ran the ball tough inside. Jackson had some nice catches. The offensive line did a nice job. We've still got work to do, no doubt about it, but I'm happy with the way we came out of here tonight.
Our defense really carried us, special teams, and our offense did a great job scoring touchdowns, and we just got the win.
Looked like a killer, but that kid is fast, and he will beat you bad.
Well, he showed it at the Dome last year in the championship game. He was the one player who really tilted the scales in favor of the Bulldogs coming down the stretch, and what a stud to have to open the night with 3 touchdowns, 2 big return ones.
Madison is going to be pretty good again in 11A in South Dakota. We've still got highlights from Brookings at Yankton. That was a really good game down there. Came down to a 1-point win for Yankton. We'll take a look at that. We got some highlights from Canastota in their home opener as well coming up in South Dakota. Right now, let's go back to North Dakota, Jason.
Yeah.
And we've got West Fargo at home against Minot. Minot beat West Fargo in the opener last year. West Fargo got off to that bad start last year and then came screaming. And they kind of went back and forth in this one. Creighton Rudolph to Peyton Lamori to make it 7-0 early Minot.
Yeah, early on, a good start for Minot, and a brand new quarterback for West Fargo.
Andy Gravdahl is their quarterback this year. That's Dylan Humble on the receiving end of a long pass there, and then the man for West Fargo.
Yeah, the man. They've got a couple men, but Chase Tyken, the unique thing about him, he starts not only on offense, he's their middle linebacker on defense, and he just mows down some magicians.
Tyken had 17 rushing touchdowns last year, and he's got 4 of them already this year. West Fargo up 7-6, and then an interception for the Packers.
Yeah, Parker Borg, I believe, comes up with that one, and that was a turning point in the game.
Yeah, it was just before the half.
But even though that was a turning point in the game, Minot comes back and actually took the lead for a little bit.
Yeah, Brett Lundy had a pick 6 in this game to put Minot ahead 14-12, but then there was too much Tyken. Scored his 2nd touchdown, his 3rd touchdown. This was the longest one of the night. He added one a little bit later. 28-14, West Fargo at halftime, and the Pack does end up rolling from there. Alex Sell came on, had a late touchdown, but again, you see the numbers there for Chase Tyken, 158 yards, 4 touchdowns as the Packers beat Minot.
Yeah, we'll hear a little bit from Daniel Gunderson, who called the game for us for the game of the week, his impressions of the West Fargo Packers. But I want to talk about Minot for a minute. I think coming into the year, I had them number 2 in my preseason poll, and it's not a poll, by the way. It's my rankings. It's me. There's no poll. But I had them as a top team in the West, and despite the 21-point loss to West Fargo, I still think they belong as the favorite out west. So that's a huge showing for West Fargo. And every coach I talked to in AAA said, watch out. West Fargo, if they put it together, if this quarterback is the real deal, they've got all the pieces for a championship run. And so far, Andy Gravdahl, he showed he is the man.
Look like it tonight. So you think Minot in the West?
I still think Minot. Watch out Bismarck. Great start for them. Century, you can't count them out. Dickinson off to a good start. It's going to be fun in the WDA.
West Fargo in the East.
Yeah, and Fargo South, look at the start that they got off to. So after 1 week, what do I know? There's a lot of good teams.
West Fargo
Great
gets
analysis.
the win tonight. West Fargo is at Bismarck Century next Friday, the defending champions in the big school class in North Dakota. So we'll see what happens there. And again, this Minot West Fargo game was our game of the week. We had our cameras there. We had the call. That game will be coming up. You can see it next Tuesday night here on Midco Sports Network between West Fargo and Minot. Still some more South Dakota highlights to come, and we will get to our zone coverage when we come back. Throw it around the state to our reporters and some of the head coaches' reaction from tonight's opening week in high school football. Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live and the opening weekend of high school football in North and South Dakota. And we've got a new deal this season, Jandy. It's our Game of the Week Viewers' Choice Poll.
Yeah.
And you can go to Twitter starting next week. It'll be every Monday through Friday. You can go on our Twitter handle at MidcoSN and vote for which game we should go to and record and play back the next week. The winning game will be shown the following Wednesday from that weekend. So
the cool thing, you always see the replays of the games. I like them because people are busy on Friday nights for watching live games, so you get a replay of it, and we're going to let you have a say in what game that's going to be coming up. Watch for that throughout the season.
All right, and that'll be, again, starting next Monday.
Next week.
All right, let's go to Canastota, South Dakota. And the 9A champions from Canastota, they've won the 9A championship 3 of the last 5 years.
They're not going to win it this year.
Jandy, they might. Scott Jolly.
They're in AA.
Is their AA, excuse me. Scott Jolly, their quarterback. And Canastota gets on the board first here. Jacob Whitelance with a touchdown. And St. Mary's here. A little bad snap. That's not going to work against Canastota. And that's a safety.
Yeah, Ross Flemmer likes his team this year, but they just got bum rushed right at the beginning of this game, and it's really hard to come back when you have to start throwing the ball against Canastota.
It's a really good throw, though, by Garrett Frost, and a good catch by Evan Brown there for the first Cardinal touchdown. My notes say that's the first Cardinal touchdown against Canastota in the last couple of years, so there you go.
There you go.
And then all Canastota after that, though. Here's Whitelance again, reversing direction and going the other way, 26-6 Canastota at this point.
That's the question this year. Who's going to run the ball for Canastota? And Whitelance off to a good start. They have a lot of yards to replace off of last year's backfield.
A little more Hawks defense. Austin Thu with the interception. Going down to make the snatch there. And then Scott Jolly finds Andrew Weber for the touchdown here for the Hawks.
Yeah, there's been about 3 Jollies at quarterback for Canastota over the last 10 years or so. And nice job by Scott on this one on the rollout, and they rolled up on the Cardinals tonight.
Yeah, Canastota fans been a little spoiled, but again, as you said, 9 AA this year for the Hawks, and we'll see how they do there. They open up tonight 42-6. Let's do a thing we call zone coverage, where we toss it around to all the games we had cameras at tonight, and let's start with Minot at West Fargo. West Fargo wins this game 41-20.
Yeah, big win for West Fargo. But we've been cued. We're going to go to Roosevelt first, where Kim Nelson commented on their win tonight. Maybe a blowout you would have expected, but let's hear what Kim has to say about the night.
Well, it's good to win anytime, In the first game of the season, we certainly played like it the first half. I didn't think we played very well, but Aberdeen had something to do with that. They're a very big, physical team. Tough matchup for us. We're not as big in the defensive line, and they put some really big guys up front, and they did a great job. It's a very different offense than we've seen them run in a long time, and it was tough for us. But our defensive coaches did a nice job of adjusting. Offensively, we got a lot of work to do. I thought we'd be crisper than that, but we really made a lot of mental errors tonight. We fixed some of them, but we still have a long ways to go.
They win that game 27-7. And as he talked about, Aberdeen Central's got a lot of size.
Yeah.
And once Roosevelt does get it figured out, that offense is going to be nasty.
Well, you heard it. Lack of sharpness, lack of mental mistakes, or too many mental mistakes for this Roosevelt team. And I think they will get that cleaned up. But give Aberdeen some credit. Yeah. They brought a good squad down today.
All right. Roosevelt with the win there. Watertown goes to Pierre tonight, and the Arrows get their first win of the season. They beat Pierre 20-7, and we caught up with their head coach after this one.
Our expectations are for the kids to just keep getting better every single time they step on the field and improve throughout the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and we did that pretty well. We got some things to get better at, though.
All right, Watertown over Pierre tonight, 20-7, and every coach is going to say that tonight. We did some things good. We're going to get better. It would be good to see Watertown and Aberdeen Central and some of these teams get back and get into the mix of things.
Yeah, I think Watertown is kind of in that same boat that Aberdeen Central is, where they don't put an elite team together at every year, but they come in waves. And this year, maybe they've got a little wave coming because Alex Gower looks really good at quarterback, and they've got a nice complement in the backfield to run the ball. And the line is big. We know Spencer Wagee is the guy that everybody has targeted on that defensive line, the future NDSU product out of Watertown, and he can blow up some plays on defense. And defensively, Watertown was stout tonight against a little bit of an inexperienced Pierre offense. So, Jay Ellison was at this game, and he had some impressions of Watertown's initial game this year. Let's hear what Jay had to say.
I tell you what, Watertown impressed me a little bit in this game. A lot of the attention goes to Spencer Wagee, and rightfully so. The kid is going to North Dakota State to play football. He's a very, very good player, two-way player for this Arrows team. But there's a lot of other athletes that people are going to have to pay attention to. And Alex Gower, the quarterback, is a pretty good player. He's a dual-threat kind of guy, throws a really nice ball, runs it very effectively. Bubba Spearing had a really nice game on the ground tonight, leading that rushing attack. Brent Schulte made a nice touchdown grab for them. Overall, all over the place, there's guys that you have to respect on this team, and they did enough defensively all night long to keep Peyton Zabel and that Governor attack, that new up-tempo offense that they're trying to run out there this year. They kept them in check.
They kept them in check.
Any team with a kid named Bubba, I'm rooting for. So Watertown with a win tonight.
Thanks, Jay.
At Pierre, thanks to Jay Elson. And again, this is the game we're talking about here. West Fargo and Minot. Again, we had our cameras there tonight. West Fargo Minot game will be shown on Midco Sports Network coming up this coming Tuesday night.
Yeah, and Daniel Gunderson was on the call for that game, and he was thoroughly impressed with Chase Teichen, as was everybody else in the stadium. Let's hear what he had to say. His 2 cents here.
4 touchdowns. He had 17 from what I remember all of last year with the regular season. I don't think that included the postseason at all. I mean, he is a tremendous athlete. He goes both ways. He's the middle linebacker for them on their defense. And, a running back rarely takes a play off, and just a really tough guy to bring down. The type of running backs you see every day on Saturdays, really. Guys that constantly are falling forward, they're moving forward. Chase Teichen has that ability to take hits, absorb hits, and continuously fall forward. And he's more of a punishment to try and bring down than him absorbing the contact from people. He is just a tough guy, and he really brought a lot of that energy and a lot of that consistency out of the running back position. West Fargo, in my mind, would go as far. I thought coming into this game was going to go as far as he was going to take them. But I have to say, what's all about Chase Teichen, Andy Gravdahl, first-year starter at quarterback, really impressed me as well. So I think West Fargo has the makings of being a really solid team offensively.
All right. I think everybody would agree with that. And Teichen, you saw him run to the outside a couple of times there, but he had a couple of touchdown runs right up the middle. They've got a kid named Brandon Metz. They've got some animals
Zach
on that
Willis,
offensive line.
as well. They got pounders up front. But he said it there. I think Andy Gravdahl might be the key to this whole operation, and he was impressive tonight.
Again, West Fargo lost their first 2 games last year, came back, won everything, won their next 8 games, and just killed people. Ended up averaging about 35 points a game. They were the highest scoring team in the EDC last year, and they are going to be pretty good again in West Fargo. Fargo-Davies was at home tonight against Bismarck, and Bismarck beat them 32-13. A couple of touchdown runs for Lucas Butts, very good running back in his own right for Bismarck. And our Greg Enkers was at this game tonight.
Talked about how this was an electric start to the game. Both teams were able to get a kick return right off the bat, but he feels like Bismarck really controlled this game minus that opening kickoff. And I think they really felt like they really set the pace in this one.
All right, Bismarck wins that game over Davies 32-13. And there you go. West Fargo looking good. Bismarck Century, both wins tonight in North Dakota. Fargo South beat Mandan 36-0. They might be pretty
convincing,
good as well.
Yes.
All right, when we come back, we're still going to get some highlights, we believe, from that Brookings game at Yankton. Yankton won it 29-28 tonight in another thriller against the Bobcats. We're going to take a look at Jandy's power rankings when we come back. Take a look at Saturday's games, and hopefully we've got some Brookings at Yankton when we come back.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance Agency and South Dakota State University.
Going to the fourth quarter here on Varsity Sports Live, and still efforting some Brookings at Yankton highlights from tonight. Hopefully we can get to those. Great game in Yankton tonight as the Bucks beat the Bobcats 29-28. Rankings are out, Jandy.
Rankings.
And,
everybody's got rankings.
You've got power rankings.
Yes.
Because you're one man and you like to do it yourself. But the Sports Writers poll in South Dakota Class 11-3A has Sioux Falls, Washington at number 1, Sioux Falls, Roosevelt at number 2.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I think Roosevelt, despite their a little sloppy performance tonight, is the team to beat. And Brandon Valley also a lot back with Alex Waltner. And Sioux Falls, Washington, very good by the end of the year. Right at this point in the season, though, they got a little growing to do.
All right, in 11AA, both the broadcasters and the sports writers have Yankton as the number 1 team.
Interesting.
The broadcasters have Brookings as the number 2 team.
Really?
None of them have Mitchell as the number 1 team, but you do.
Yeah, and then 2 months ago, I didn't either until I started talking to all the coaches, and they convinced me that Mitchell is the team to beat. 8 starters back on defense, 2 of the most electric running backs in the state in Sam Mickles and Spencer Negebauer. It convinced me. Mitchell might be the team to beat, although I don't think there's a true number 1 in this class. There's a lot of number 2s.
Mitchell and Harrisburg play each other on Saturday
I'll be
night.
there.
In 11A, Jason, the broadcasters had Madison number 1, West Central number 2.
Yeah.
Flip that around for the sports writers, and Madison looks like the number 1 team.
Yeah, Madison looks like number 1. West Central, probably not right now, unless Dakota Valley maybe is number 2. Del Rapids, bad loss tonight, but look for them to bounce back. And the rest of this field, St. Thomas More, they're going to throw some passing records this year with Preston Arity and a lot of other teams to consider, including T Area, who had a nice win tonight.
St. Thomas More plays Sturgis tomorrow night. Again, Dakota Valley beat West Central tonight in 11A. In 11B, winner is unanimous in both of the broadcasters and the sports writers poll. And what do you got for 11B?
Yeah, winner is by far and away the best team in this class. Watch out for, I maybe did underrate Tri-Valley a little bit, but they've got a young backfield. And I also wanted to credit Aberdeen, Roncalli, and Groton, who both bring back stud quarterbacks. And I think they'll be teams to watch out for, but winner by far and away the best team in this class.
You look back at some of the really good dynasties in high school in South Dakota in the last 10 years. Tri-Valley is one of them. They've been in the championship game, I think, 7 times in the last 10 years.
And they do it because they continually have the biggest, beastliest line in the state, and they're rebuilding that line this year, but a lot of talent back with Landon Freeman, and their quarterback is back as well.
All right, in North Dakota, their big school poll in 3A just came out this week, and they've got West Fargo, Minot, Bismarck Century, all in the top 3. These are yours right here. Minot is the number 1 team in the sportscasters and sports writers poll.
Yeah, I'm convinced that I'm right on this one. I think West Fargo's the team to beat.
They beat Minot tonight 41-20. Fargo South with a convincing shutout win as well tonight. Couple of Saturday games in South Dakota, Jandy, that are going to be very good. One of them is coming up at Brandon Valley. That is Sioux Falls, Washington, the defending champions in the big schools in South Dakota at Brandon Valley on Saturday.
Yeah, this is a huge game, the Pigskin Classic in Brandon, and this is the way Brandon wants it. Last time these two teams met, you remember? Semifinal game last year. Washington taking on Brandon Valley. It was a little rough start for Brandon Valley. They came back, and Alex Waltner threw the ball all over the field, connecting with Chase Grody several times, but it was Washington, the veteran team, that outlasted him. This year, I think the roles switch. Washington comes in a little bit young. Brandon Valley comes in with the seasoned quarterback. It could be a little different this year, Tom.
Yeah, they did flip it around a little bit because Washington's going to have a sophomore quarterback, a sophomore running back.
Yep.
Logan Utex, just a junior, is there a very
Seth
good wide
Benson,
receiver. Seth Benson, just a junior. So we'll see what happens on Saturday night in Brandon Valley. Should be very good. There's Bentz with Sioux Falls, Washington at Brandon Valley. And another good matchup on Saturday night is in 11AA. That is Harrisburg at Mitchell, the two teams that you've got at the top of your
these are my two top teams in 11AA. And Mitchell doesn't have Cannon Nelson back, the best quarterback they've ever had in their program. But despite that, I think they're the team to beat. Last year, Harrisburg got the best of them early on, but I think there's some big differences in these teams between last year and what you're going to see this year. Mitchell's fast, better on defense. Harrisburg's going to be fast, and with a new running back named Jack Anderson to watch out for.
All right, that is going to be very fun to watch in Mitchell on Saturday night. Harrisburg at Mitchell. In Mitchell tonight, there was a good college football game as Dakota State beat Dakota Wesleyan 34-30. The Trojans with a goal line stand right at the end of that game, but Dakota State over Dakota Wesleyan tonight in college football in Mitchell.
All right, let's run the rundown.
Let's do a thing called the rundown. We'll show you one highlight from all of the games we had cameras at tonight, and we will start it with Minot at West Fargo, and it was the Chase Teichen show.
Chase Teichen with 4 touchdowns on the day. This one he bounces over a runner, through another, and past the rest of them to lead West Fargo past Minot in a big 21-point win.
Bismarck over Fargo Davies tonight, 32-13.
Yeah, this is traditional Demon football, running right through the lines. Lucas Butts with a big touchdown, getting them on the board 1-0.
Defending state champions Bismarck Century open up with a win at Grand Forks Red River.
Yeah, Olson, the junior quarterback, with a couple nice passes down the field, and they go across the state. Always nice to go on the road and get a win to start your season.
Fargo South shuts out Mandan tonight. Jack Pfeiffer with a couple of touchdowns on his feet.
We might be looking at the best quarterback in this class. I'm not sure quite yet, but Jack Pfeiffer gets the Bruins off to a great start.
In South Dakota, Roosevelt opens up 27-7 over Aberdeen Central.
Not the crispest start in the world for the Riders, but they pull through and get a 20-point win.
Austin Johnson with a touchdown catch there. This is Hunter Thompson, the quarterback for Sioux Falls O'Gorman, as the Knights win at Rapid City Central.
Nice win for them on the road. Didn't exactly have things going smoothly as well, but a big win.
There's Bubba Spearing for Watertown as they beat Pierre tonight 20-7.
Yeah, another road win for a AAA school, and Watertown getting off to a better start.
Brookings at Yankton. Yankton pulls it out 29-28. The Bobcats scored a touchdown, went for 2, did not get it, and Yankton pulls it out. Madison with Mason Layton tonight, 3 touchdowns for him.
Dominant performance by Mason Layton and the rest of the Bulldogs. Give credit to those guys up front as well. They are big on the lines and fast on the outside.
Canastota up from 9A to 9AA this year, as you said, and they roll over Del Rapids St. Mary's tonight.
Yeah, big win for Canastota, and that's important because 9AA is stocked with talent this year. I count 8 teams in that class that really could contend for a title, and Canastota is right in that mix.
All right. Our apologies, we didn't quite get that Brookings-Yankton game in, but it was very good. Nate Rakusik, a bunch of touchdowns tonight for Yankton. Bobcats scored 3 straight touchdowns in the second half to take a lead 22-21. Yankton came back and scored on a Cameron Krejci touchdown to go up 29-22. Devin Coughlin went to Brennan Carlson for a touchdown for Brookings to make it 29-28. They went for 2, did not get it, and Yankton wins 29-28.
A couple good performances at quarterback. Nate Stevenson threw for 278 yards and a touchdown in that game. Rex Reichen came up with several catches, and Devin Coughlin, like you said, with Brookings, it's a quarterback that has command of that team as well. So 2 teams right in the mix of AA, and we will have highlights, by the way, on Varsity Sports, our weekly show, as well as sound from Arlen Lickness.
Every Wednesday night, Jason Andera and Jay Elson on Varsity Sports, again with the recap of
6:30 this year,
the week in high school football. And just a last thought on this class, Brookings, Yankton, maybe somebody new this year in 11AA in South Dakota.
It'll be fun to see Harrisburg play Mitchell tomorrow night. I'll be at that game. And I'll give you a little weigh-in of what I think the best team in that class is.
See you next week.